Chapter 2216. Crying because of Fang Yuan. Eastern Sea. Shun Clan Headquarters. Purple Rosewood Myriad Sparrow Island. An elderly Gu immortal stood in front of a stone door as he waited patiently. The elderly Gu immortal radiated rank 8 aura. He was the current first supreme elder of Shun Clan, holding high authority. Shun Tsung Sheng. Rumble. As the door of the secret room was opened, 2 Gu immortals walked out from within. The person in front wore a gray robe and had shoulder-length black and white hair. It was Shun Shang.Asa, cultivator of human path. The stay in Divine Emperor City was his fortuitous encounter. After leaving Divine Emperor City, the black fire injury in his immortal aperture was completely healed. His battle strength surged to pseudo-venerable level. Shin Shang walked out of the stone door and stayed at the side, smiling at the Gu immortal behind him. Please come in. This Gu immortal wore a gray hemp garment. It was very simple and plain, but his muscular body could not be concealed. He wore a conical hat that could not hide his pale face and weakened state. It was Lu Weiyin, who had survived the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Lu Weiyin bowed slightly and said, Senior Shin's human path methods are extraordinary. 30% of my injuries have healed already. I can only repay this debt in the future. Shin Shang laughed heartily. No need to worry about it. Don't call me senior either. We fought together in Crazed Demon Cave, having close cooperation. With our friendship, you can just treat me as an equal. Shun Tsung Sheng laughed as well. Seniors, the banquet has been prepared. Please come with me. Before Lu Weiyin gave any modest reply, Shin Shang laughed and grabbed his arm, bringing him to the banquet enthusiastically. The banquet was held outdoors in the open, at the peak of Rosewood Myriad Sparrow Island. There were 3 people in the pavilion. Shin Shang sat at the main seat. Lu Weiyin sat beside him as the guest, while Shin Tsung Sheng sat at the end respectfully. There was no need to comment about the beautiful and delicious food and wine on the table. Lu Weiyin only took a small bite before he gazed afar. He saw that the sea was calm as a mirror, having no waves at all. The setting sun was radiating brightly, and the evening clouds were like blazing flames. Such a beautiful sight. Lu Weiyin praised this moment. The countless birds and sparrows chirped on the island. Countless purple rosewood branches shook with the cries of the birds, emitting beautiful sounds. Once, the blend of sounds created a medley that spread far and wide, towards the sea and sky that stretched to the horizon. Lu Weiyin could not help but show an expression of indulgence. He shut his eyes to savor the moment. After a long while, he opened his eyes and let out a breath of air. I've heard of the reputation of Eastern Sea Shin Clan's Rosewood Myriad Sparrow Island. After seeing it today, it truly lives up to that reputation. After surviving Crazed Demon Cave and seeing this beautiful sight, my heart has calmed down. Sigh. It is great to be alive. Lu Weiyin's strength was at the peak of rank 8, aside from his defense, which was firmly at pseudo-venerable level. However, the battle in Crazed Demon Cave made him feel extremely weak. There were many crises and trials that caused Lu Weiyin to be on the brink of death multiple times. Recalling these dangerous moments, Lu Weiyin still felt some lingering fear now. Shin Tsung Sheng showed an expression of curiosity as he inquired. If not for heavenly courts and longevity heavens declarations, the entire 5 regions would still be kept in the dark. What exactly happened in Crazed Demon Cave? Not only did Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable revive, Guyu Fang Yuan even became Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven both suffered losses, even though they had gains too. Fang Yuan was the biggest winner. Thus, they did not describe the details of Crazed Demon Cave to the rest of the world. With this huge commotion, after the initial shock of the Gu Immortals, they started to gain deep curiosity. Shin Tsung Sheng was no exception. Lu Weiyin and Shin Shang looked at each other before retelling the complex story of the battle in Crazed Demon Cave together. After Shin Tsung Sheng heard their story, he became silent. The pursuit of limitless demon Venerable, the scheming star constellation Immortal Venerable, the powerful giant sun Immortal Venerable, the pitiful paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, and the immense restraint of Guyu Fang Yuan. This battle was at a whole new level, to the extent that even demon Immortal Qi Ju, Zhanbu Du, Qi Si ancestor, Lu Weiyin, and Xinshang were mere side characters in comparison. The price of this battle was also shocking beyond belief. Pseudo-venerables like Zhanbu Du and demon immortal Qi Ju died. Fang Yuan lost about 50 Gu immortal subordinates. Only half of longevity heaven's 8 extremities were left. And in Crazed Demon Cave, countless life forms including Nie Kuang Feng, Butian Kong, and Duan who had died. Eventually, Limitless Demon Venerable failed in pursuing eternal life, while Fang Yuan ended up as the biggest winner. Shun Tsungsheng frowned and asked the two immortals, "There are 3 things I do not understand. Firstly, if I were Limitless Demon Venerable, why would I rush at that moment and take such a risk? With such strength, couldn't he have suppressed the entire world and built another formation if this crazed demon formation was not enough to achieve his goal?" Shenshang shook his head slightly. Limitless Demon Venerable is a true Tao pursuer. After a million years of preparation and planning, how could he relent without giving it a test? Lu Weiyin added. He could not last long in that condition either. Although he seemed to have revived, he was not a true living Gu immortal. At least, after his death, he did not have a flesh and blood body. There was no immortal aperture either. In fact, he turned back into truthful floating ice. So that's it. Shun Tsungsheng nodded and asked again. Secondly, are they really ignoring spectral soul demon venerable and letting him remain in the void of the 9th layer of Crazed Demon Cave? Lu Weiyin pondered and said, Spectral soul demon venerable was first manipulated by star constellation immortal venerable and experienced a surge in emotions. He almost lost his memories and only vaguely remembered Lord Paradise Earth. Afterwards, spectral soul demon venerable was released from the door of life and death by star constellation immortal venerable. He actually went to block the whole of the world boundary of his own accord. That was out of our expectations. He did not regain his memories and sanity like what we anticipated. There were no changes in his emotions. It was like he was completely emotionless, but he treated the world boundaries whole as the biggest threat. He used his body to block it and ignored everything else. That was truly a strange condition, as if he was a soul beast. Shunshang said, Us two discussed between ourselves regarding spectral soul demon venerable's condition, but we had no conclusion. Now it seems that even the venerables have no answer. They can merely make guesses. After Fang Yuan gained the upper hand and snatched the final truthful floating ice, while spectral soul demon venerable focused on suppressing the world boundaries whole, the 3 venerables stopped fighting. After the battle of Crazed Demon Cave, they are all severely weakened, since the whole is handled by spectral soul demon venerable. Ignoring him is the best move for now. Saying so, Xinshang looked at Lu Weiyin and said, As for what they will do in the future, and whether spectral soul demon venerable can regain his sanity, none of us can guess. Lu Weiyin nodded. His expression turned more solemn. Spectral soul demon venerable had a deeply murderous nature. Without regaining his sanity, he could only stay in the 9th layer void and not escape. But if he regained his sanity, the 5 regions and 2 heavens would fall into chaos. Shun Tsungsheng asked his final question. And thirdly, Fang Yuan's schemes to become a venerable were exposed by star constellation immortal venerable and giant sun immortal venerable. But there are still things I cannot understand. How did Fang Yuan get so many new killer moves? He had an endless number of compound killer moves, totem killer moves, and even Dang Hun Luo Pasil that made use of Dang Hun Mountain, Luo Pa Valley, and Reverse Flow River. I really cannot understand it. I thought Fang Yuan was always specialized in the wisdom path aspect of blocking others' deductions. His wisdom goo was also used up in Heavenly Court. How could he still have so many killer moves? Unless he has made some important progression in wisdom path, but isn't this growth simply too big? So be it if he had Dang Hun Luo Pasil, but that killer move that allowed him to escape from the door of life and death used the 3 secluded domains of heaven and earth as the cores. He had nearly replicated the road of life. Lu Weiyin and Xinshang shook their heads. They had no idea either. The former side. If Fang Yuan was not so unpredictable, he would not have become the biggest winner in this contest. The latter said, Regarding this, I have some guesses. The 3 immortals ate and spoke, discussing their theories. After filling their bellies, Shun Tsungsheng took out a cup and made tea for Lu Weiyin and Xinshang. That Lu Weiyin took a look and became quite curious. He asked, "Is this your sixth sound tea?" Shun Tsung Shung smiled. "It is just a small creation. Allow me to embarrass myself." Lu Wei-yin had a serious expression. "Shin Clan's sixth sound tea is famous in the world. To think that I am lucky enough to try it. There is a term in luck path called every cloud has a silver lining. There is also another saying, there is bound to be great fortune after surviving a huge crisis. Haha, I am really lucky today." Six sound tea was a set of 6 teacups. These 6 cups of tea had very specific details when it came to the brewing process: temperature, cup used, sequence of drinking, and exact way to drink. Shin Tsung Shung expended rank 8 immortal materials to brew the first cup of tea. It was called Autumnwood Sound. This tea was crystal clear. It was like the sky devoid of clouds, extremely pure and intact. The moment Lu Wei-yin drank it, he felt refreshed. His mind became clear. It was pure and cleansed. It was as if he had turned into a carefree flying bird, or a cool breeze, moving casually in the autumn skies, forgetting all his worries. Shun Tsung Shung made the second cup of tea. It was called Cloud Flow Tea. This tea had a special texture. It was soft as cotton, unlike normal tea. It melted when it entered the mouth, turning into a slightly cold stream of water that flowed down his throat. It was drunk in one mouthful. Without doubt that he made the third cup of tea. It was called River Mournful Cry. But halfway through, tears flowed down Shun Tsung Shung's cheeks. He failed to brew the tea successfully. "I am ashamed. I am ashamed." Shun Tsung Shung quickly wiped his tears and apologized. Lu Wei-yin's injuries had been treated by Shin Shang. He was also hosted so enthusiastically by them. He knew that the main show was coming. He quickly asked what they wanted to hear. "First Supreme Elder of Shin Clan, why are you crying?" Shun Tsung Shung answered, "Thank you for the concern. I am merely tearing up in guilt. It has been 1,000 years since my Shin Clan was established. To think that it would face the crisis of extermination during my generation, I, Shun Tsung Shung, am truly incompetent and useless. This beautiful rosewood myriad Sparrow Island and our countless clansmen are all going to perish." Shin Shang sighed deeply. Lu Wei-yin asked, "Are you too worried about Fang Yuan?" "Precisely. Not long ago, information spread that this Lord Demon Venerable returned to Eastern Sea, picking a mortal island to set up his 5-restriction profound light chi that encompassed the surrounding 10,000 li. I am truly worried and fearful now. The whole of Shin Clan is worried and fearful. In fact, the entire Eastern Sea-gu immortal world is worried and fearful." Shin Tsung Shung said this. A large amount of tears flowed down his face again. Chapter 22:17. Delicious wine becomes flavorless. The great Shin Clan first Supreme Elder was crying with a tearful expression now. Part of it was definitely Shun Tsung Shung's inner fear towards Fang Yuan, but he had deeper goals as well. With the combined announcement of Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, such news could not be fake. Fang Yuan became heaven-refining demon venerable, while news like Qi Si ancestor being Fang Yuan's clone became known throughout the world. Before this, Eastern Sea's righteous path had been defending Qi Si ancestor as they made the Righteous Qi Alliance to contest against the variant human alliance under Fang Yuan's control. That it turned out that both leaders were Fang Yuan after all. It could be said that the entirety of Eastern Sea's righteous path clans were toyed around in the hands of Fang Yuan. After Shin Tsung Shung found out about the truth, he felt anger and humiliation, but soon, fear and unrest followed. Shin Clan was an Eastern Sea superforce. It had huge businesses and 7 seas under its control, but how could they face Fang Yuan? Back when Fang Yuan was still a pseudo-venerable, Eastern Sea's superforces had joined together unprecedentedly and nominated Qi Si ancestor to lead them. This caused their situation to stabilize. Now that Fang Yuan was a venerable, Shin Clan and the other superforces could not escape his wrath. Because they were located in Eastern Sea, they could not move elsewhere. Even if they wanted to move, where could they go? Southern border and western desert were impossible, since the absence of a venerable meant that Fang Yuan could chase after them if he was unhappy, and they would be doomed. Other than those regions, Central Continent and Northern Plains, each had their own venerable who could resist Fang Yuan. But they already had their own super forces. How could Shin Clan and the rest develop there? If they stayed in Eastern Sea, Fang Yuan would bully them. But if they went to Central Continent or Northern Plains, would Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable not suppress them? The 5 regions' chaotic war was bound to happen. If Shun clan joined either Venerable, when war broke out, they would be used as cannon fodder. Thus, Shun Tsungsheng gathered the elite Gu immortals and discussed for a while. He decided that joining Fang Yuan was the best choice for them. Even though it was quite embarrassing, Fang Yuan was now a demon venerable. Everyone would understand their actions. After Shin Tsungsheng made up his mind to join Fang Yuan, he thought about it more deeply. Since he was going to join Fang Yuan, Shin clan had to be the first clan to do so. It would give them more advantages. If Shin clan took the lead and worked with a pseudo-venerable like Lu Weiyin, stirring other Eastern Sea righteous path forces to join Fang Yuan, they would leave a good impression on Fang Yuan. Shin Tsungsheng secretly told this plan to Shin Shang. After he thought about it for a while, he decided that it was possible. Thus, they had to convince Lu Weiyin first. Shin Shang felt that they had a good chance of convincing Lu Weiyin. Even though he had only met Lu Weiyin shortly, they had a deep connection. Shin Shang had once received Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's guidance while Lu Weiyin was his southern border inheritor. If they looked at this from the Central Continent sect system, they were disciple brothers. Furthermore, during the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, Lu Weiyin and Shin Shang had worked together without any internal conflict. After returning, Shin Shang used his human path methods to heal Lu Weiyin. If he were to use only his own earth path methods, it would take a long time to recover. At once, Shun Tsungsheng cried, while Shin Shang drank tea by the side. They were both waiting for Lu Weiyin's response. Lu Weiyin sighed internally. He had already understood that Shin Shang had an unclear relationship with Fang Yuan. They had worked together during the Fate War to fight Heavenly Court. In Crazed Demon Cave, after Shin Shang left Divine Emperor City, he immediately cooperated and fought against Heavenly Court as a result of Fang Yuan's words. Then what about Lu Weiyin? Where should he go? Lu Weiyin had been considering this question for a long time. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, the situation of the world changed drastically. 3 venerables were in a standoff, but there was still the possibility of other venerables reviving. Everything needed to be reconsidered. Lu Weiyin, who had pseudo-venerable battle strength, was clear of his own situation. Fighting against a venerable was courting death. But in certain situations, pseudo-venerables were still capable of influencing the victory and defeat of venerables. The battle in Crazed Demon Cave was proof of this. When Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable got into a deadlock, they first invited Fang Yuan before asking the other pseudo-venerables to join their side. These people were the crucial pieces needed to tilt victory in their favor. In Crazed Demon Cave, even after the 3 venerables stopped fighting, Fang Yuan and the other venerables did not deal with Lu Weiyin and the rest, other than the fact that they were in poor condition and were wary of each other's actions, thus being unable to take risks. If they tried to kill the pseudo-venerables and failed, they would be forcing them to join the other sides. Thus, Lu Weiyin and the rest returned safely. Lu Weiyin pondered for a while before saying, "If Lord Paradise Earth were still around, I would definitely follow him." The reason why I helped Fang Yuan to ambush Spectral Soul during the pursuit battle was to use his strength to help Lord Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable revive. But now, he has been killed by Fang Yuan. Lu Weiyin gritted his teeth, showing anger on his face that if Paradise Earth were to be killed by either Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, Lu Weiyin might still feel better. But it was Fang Yuan who killed Paradise Earth, while Fang Yuan managed to escape from Spectral Soul Demon Venerable because of Lu Weiyin's desperate attempt to ambush him. Shin Shang observed his expression and knew that Lu Weiyin's emotions were surging. He understood why Lu Weiyin felt so conflicted as well. Shin Shang did not speak. He had received Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's help in the past. It was not appropriate to speak now. Shin Tsungsheng had no such issue, immediately urging, "In my opinion, Lord Lu Weiyin, you do not need to be too conflicted. Back then, you helped Fang Yuan mostly because of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's will." After pausing for a while, he added, "Furthermore, even though Fang Yuan took Lord Paradise Earth's life, that was merely the final hit. The most important culprits were Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Lu Weiyin sighed as he looked up. He had no choice but to nod as he said, "You are right." He smiled bitterly. The situation has changed. The world is no longer like before. Without Lord Paradise Earth, I, Lu Weiyin, am merely a wandering vagrant. Even though Mushroom Man Paradise is still around, the Mushroom Men have all entered the sovereign immortal aperture already. They are Fang Yuan's hostages. I am troubled by both choices. I cannot calm down. Xinshang, we have a deep friendship forged from battles. I wonder what your opinion on this matter is? I would like to hear your view. Xinshang coughed before saying, I will not lie to you, friend. I want to join Lord Heaven refining Demon Venerable. The truth is, back in the Blue Dragon Whale, we had already worked with Lord Fang Yuan. Afterwards, we collaborated in both the Fate War and the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Through our multiple cooperations, Lord Fang Yuan had not let us down once. Of course, can we say that Fang Yuan is dependable? That is complete nonsense. He is still a demon venerable after all. But Shen Clan's foundation is here. If we try to move, it will be too risky. After considering the pros and cons, this is the only thing we can do. Gu Immortals could not cultivate without resources. Shen Clan was huge and had many Gu Immortals. They needed even more resources to maintain the cultivation of all their members, while promoting new Gu Immortal seeds as well. Of course, each Gu Immortal had their own immortal aperture, but just the resources inside one's immortal aperture were not enough to be self-sufficient. Otherwise, Treasure Yellow Heaven would not be this popular with everyone. The sovereign immortal aperture was able to be self-sufficient, but it was unique. Even though it could be refined again, the amount of immortal materials needed, including the 10 extreme physiques, and also the tribulation during the Gu refinement, made the risks and investments too great to bear. Hearing Xinshang's words, Lu Weiyin's expression turned grim as he nodded. Brother Shin has helped me a lot. Since that is your decision, then I will follow you this time. Shun Tsung and Shun Shang glanced at each other while muttering internally, sly old fox. With these words, Lu Weiyin wanted to use this decision to repay the favor of having Xinshang heal his injuries as expected. A pseudo-venerable like Lu Weiyin was a genius among geniuses. He could not be deceived under most situations. Xinshang coughed and said, It is for the best that you have decided to do this. We can help each other out in the future as well. Shen Tsung quickly made use of this conversation, suggesting that Xinshang and Lu Weiyin should take the lead to get all the other Eastern Sea super forces to join Fang Yuan as well. Lu Weiyin predicted that this would happen. He nodded and agreed on the spot. Shen Tsung brewed his 6-sound tea again. After enjoying the tea, Xinshang brought the satisfied Lu Weiyin into their secret room again for treatment. Xinshang's and Lu Weiyin's injuries were very severe. Just one round of treatment was not enough. Even if Xinshang was using human path methods to get rid of these venerable Dao marks on their wounds, time was needed that on the morning of the second day, Shen Tsung set off and visited the other super clans. His plan to rope them in was quite successful. These super forces were all based in Eastern Sea. They soon heard from Shen Tsung that Xinshang and Lu Weiyin were going to join Fang Yuan. With the death of Demon Immortal Qi Ju in Crazed Demon Cave, there were only 3 pseudo-venerable battle strength experts left in the world. Among the 3 of them, Xinshang and Lu Weiyin wanted to join Fang Yuan, while Qi Si Ancestor, the leader of the Righteous Qi Alliance, was Fang Yuan's Qi Path clone. This trend was simply too overpowering. The other Eastern Sea super clans soon joined in. Of course, not everyone wanted to join Fang Yuan. Xia Xian, Xia Jia, and the other Gu Immortals had already decided to leave Eastern Sea and betray the Righteous Qi Alliance the moment they heard Longevity Heavens and Heavenly Court's announcements. These Xia Clan Gu Immortals were truly pitiful. First, their foundation was devoured by the Variant Human Alliance. They then joined Qi Si Ancestor to try and reclaim their territory. But the result was that Qi Si Ancestor and Fang Yuan had played them entirely, killing the important Gu Immortals of Xia Clan like Xia Ruiji. This demon Fang Yuan killed our clansmen and devoured our foundation. This enmity is greater than heaven. Eastern Sea, we will be back one day. Let's go. Zue Xianwang is going to arrive here soon on patrol. Hee hee, don't worry. In order to escape today, I specially found some rare wine for Zue Xianwang. With his nature, he is going to be completely drunk today. Xia Clan's Gu immortals conversed while secretly flying from Eastern Sea to Central Continent along the surface of the sea. Zue Xianwang watched as they left, until they vanished into the horizon. This elderly Gu immortal sighed deeply. He had a worried expression. He had already regretted his promise to Qin Dingling. He was now Heavenly Court spy that had infiltrated the righteous Qi alliance. Heavenly Court had instructed him a day ago to purposely let these Xia Clan Gu immortals go. I succeeded this time because it was an easy mission, but next time? Zue Xianwing thought about Fang Yuan, who had venerable cultivation level. All the wine that he had become flavorless. How did he suddenly become a venerable out of nowhere? Chapter 22:18. Fang Yuan as an escape route. A tiny bamboo stick, on which 5 cicadas were skewered, was placed above the fire grill. The bamboo stick was unusual, while the fire was also not ordinary. These 5 cicadas were all rank 5 fire path Gu worms named purple smoke cicada. Once the infusion of true essence can emit purple smoke, obscuring a piece of heaven and earth, if in the mortal world. Each purple smoke cicada would cause bloodshed among Gu masters. But here, they were just food. The person cooking the cicadas wore a white robe and had thick hair. He was sitting on a folding stool that displayed his tall and thin body. It was Northern Plains rank 8 Gu immortal Heavenly Lord Baizu. Heavenly Lord Baizu had a hobby that was well known in Northern Plains Gu immortal world. He loved to cook Gu worms and create these delicious dishes from time to time. He personally cooked these dishes. Other than for himself, he also gave them to his Baizu tribe members as a reward. Anyone who received such a reward would feel incredibly honored. This was Heavenly Lord Baizu's acknowledgement after all. At times, Heavenly Lord Baizu would also invite his Gu immortal friends as guests to enjoy his cooking. This moment, Chu Du sat in front of Heavenly Lord Baizu. He was the single esteemed guest that was invited. Chu Du continued to chew as the number of purple smoke cicadas on the skewer fell to 1. Brother Chu, how's the taste? Heavenly Lord Baizu grilled his cicadas while smiling and asking. Chu Du smiled too. It has great flavor. To think that after grilling these purple smoke cicadas, they would actually have the flavor of chicken meat, but also the sweetness of taro. It is a crunchy snack and 1 skewer is definitely not enough. Ha ha ha. Heavenly Lord Baizu laughed. Everyone knows that I was a lone cultivator initially. Long ago, when I roamed Northern Plains aimlessly, I barely had enough clothes or food. One time, when I failed to capture a Gu worm, I accidentally crushed it with my foot. Half a month of effort became wasted as a result. I could not bear to leave it there. I felt angry and regretful. Thus, I cooked that Gu worm and ate it. The flavor was terrible, and I had diarrhea for 7 days and nights. I almost died as a result. After that ordeal, I became more determined and ruthless. I swore that when I made it big, I would frequently eat Gu worms to take revenge. Heavenly Lord Baizu had a drifting gaze. Chu Du was solemn. Heavenly Lord Baizu had never said such words to him. He seemed to have the intention to go into a deeper conversation. Chu Du knew that this was the result of exposing his rank 8 cultivation level. They were on equal levels now. Heavenly Lord Baizu laughed again as he steered the topic back. My grilled cicadas are just a hobby. There is good flavor, but no benefits at all. This is not like those super forces with deep foundations. Their famous teas and wines are passed down for generations and modified each time. Some of their better creations can even grant Dao marks after consumption. Chu Du nodded as he said analytically. Ever since the Battle of Etion Mountain and the actions of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, who has incredibly profound food path methods, Heavenly Court, which was his enemy, started to research food path and gained much result. The Qi tides that swept the world also caused 5 or 6 food path inheritances that I know of to be circulated. These were mostly sold in Treasure Yellow Heaven and were bought by many people, allowing them to benefit greatly. As a result, food path started to spread among people. Heavenly Lord Baizu nodded and sighed. With the destruction of fate, the unification of 5 regions, and the reign of 3 venerables, the chaotic war is about to start. This has never happened in human history. Food path originated from beastmen and was purposely concealed by people even when it was spread. But with the Great Era now, food path cannot be hidden anymore. I wonder how many food path experts will appear in the future? Food path is becoming like this. Strength path will also not stay the same. Brother Chu, I know that you are focused on promoting strength path. That is impossible during normal times, but in this great era, you have a good chance of success. Chu Du laughed involuntarily. He had fought against Fairy Black Moon earlier and risked injuries to save her. It showed his aspiration to everyone. Chu Du's eyes glimmered. Now is still too early. Currently, there are less than 5 true strength path experts in the 5 regions. Other than me and Fairy Black Moon, there is only the first supreme elder of Western Desert's Feng clan, who is the most famous one. To revitalize strength path, I need to get more Gu cultivators to choose strength path in their cultivation. I cannot change the environment of the world, but I can create more strength path experts to push this tide along. Heavenly Lord Baizu finally reached the topic he wanted. He interjected, Brother Chu, you are forgetting one strength path expert. In his early days, he mostly relied on strength path methods. And now he is high and mighty, far beyond the realm of us, ordinary people. Chu Du was stunned for a moment before realizing that Heavenly Lord Baizu was referring to Guyu Fang Yuan. Chu Du knew what Heavenly Lord Baizu's intention was in mentioning Fang Yuan. He cooperated and said solemnly, Guyu Fang Yuan was able to become a venerable. It is truly out of my expectations. Back when I first met him, I felt that this person was not simple. He could not be estimated with common sense. Afterwards, I was fortunate to fight together with him several times. I found that this person had a hardy nature. He had both brains and brawn. Anyone with such a nature would not submit to being below others. But he had a special identity. He was the single chosen person by heaven's will to rebirth. He also received the investment of many venerables in an attempt to destroy fate. In his life, he had encountered so many dangerous situations and predicaments that even throughout history, nobody could compare to it. Finally, he managed to take that final step and become one of the strongest people in the world. After my initial shock and suspicion, I analyzed this and felt that it was a natural thing. Heavenly Lord Baizu listened. He nodded, saying, You are exactly right. Next, Heavenly Lord Baizu subconsciously quietened his voice as he moved his body forward, saying to Chu Du, I wonder if Brother Chu has stayed in contact with this heaven-refining demon venerable. Chu Du did not answer openly. He asked, Oh, Brother Baizu, you mean to say? Heavenly Lord Baizu shrugged and raised both palms, smiled bitterly. In the current situation, Brother Chu, why the need to ask an unnecessary question? We became acquainted from our initial conflict. Even though we made our respective tribes, in this northern plains, we are ostracized constantly. In normal times, we both have rank 8 cultivation level. Other than Central Continent, as long as we are alive, our forces can stay strong in any other place. But now, we are in the unprecedented Great Era. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable revived, and he has a reputation for being the most caring towards his descendants. My Baizu tribe was established by devouring He tribe's foundation, which is a Huang Jin bloodline tribe. To speak the truth, Brother Chu, I have not been able to eat or sleep well recently. I am filled with worries. Chu Du quickly consoled. No matter how protective Giant Sun Immortal Venerable is towards his descendants, you still have rank 8 cultivation level. Longevity Heaven has been trying to unify the entire Northern Plains Gu immortal world. If he kills you, he will lose the support of many people. If the current world were ruled by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable alone, we might be in danger. But with 3 venerables in power now, we have hope of surviving. Heavenly Lord Baizu still had a bitter expression. However, there are countless ways for the stronger party to deal with us. Brother Chu, ever since our tribes were created, the other Huang Jin tribes have been ostracizing us. Haven't we seen enough of their methods? Giant Sun Immortal Venerable does not need to target us. When the chaos starts, he can just push our tribes to be the cannon fodder. It is a simple thing to get rid of us. Chu Du heard this and nodded lightly. Heavenly Lord Baizu had expressed his inner worry as well. Heavenly Lord Baizu wanted to contact Fang Yuan through Chu Du. He was not thinking of joining Fang Yuan immediately. After all, Fang Yuan had been given the title of Heaven Refining Demon Venerable by longevity, heaven, and heavenly court. Everyone in the world knew about Fang Yuan's nature. Ruthlessness and cruelty was a part of it. Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu wanted to leave an escape route for himself, so that he could use it when a crisis appeared. And the truth was, Chu-Du had the same idea as him. To speak the truth, I have not contacted Fang Yuan for a very long time. Chu-Du sighed and said the truth. Chu-Du added, everyone knows about my relationship with Fang Yuan. It is too dangerous to contact Fang Yuan now with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's existence. If I get exposed, disaster would strike. Even though he said that, Chu-Du had already made up his mind. While the three venerables were resting, he would secretly contact Fang Yuan and try to create a backup plan for his Chu tribe. The concurrent reign of three venerables shocked the world. After the shock, most of the forces and Gu immortals started to think about their own circumstances at the same time. Fang clan's first supreme elder, who was known as the most famous strength path expert by Chu-Du, was also holding a meeting now.In the study room. Fang clan's first supreme elder Fang Gong sat down and said with a tone of lingering fear, to think that Fang Yuan became a demon venerable. Thankfully, our clan did not reject him and made the transaction with him. Otherwise, if we offended him, we could have defended against him back then, but now, we would face his revenge. Our entire clan would get into a crisis of life and death. At the side, Fang clan's third supreme elder, rank 7 Gu immortal, Fang Huasheng said, the truth is, our Fang clan was deceived by Fang Yuan for so long. But that is nothing big. He is someone who became venerable after all. Fang Dichang snorted coldly, showing a look of displeasure. He had deep grudges with Fang Yuan. Back then, he schemed against Fang Yuan but got killed and captured instead. Even though Fang Yuan released his soul later, that was part of the transaction that allowed him to get a vast amount of soul cores as well as Thieves' Den right now. Fang Dichang had another body. Even though he had rank 5 cultivation level, he was already preparing for his immortal ascension. Although his cultivation level fell, his status remained unchanged. After all, his adopted son, Fang Yuan, was holding up his faction. He was still trusted by the whole of Fang clan. Even though Fang Dichang's wisdom path methods were weaker now, he still had his unique perspective. He smiled coldly and analyzed. On the surface, Fang Yuan has become a demon venerable, and the current situation is unprecedented. Something like 3 venerables coexisting at the same time has never happened, but even among them, there are subtle differences. Look, Heavenly Court exposed Giant Sun Immortal Venerable of creating and cultivating blood path. They also claimed that Fang Yuan was Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. They are the most aggressive side. Longevity Heaven rebuked Heavenly Court and said that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was cultivating blood path to benefit the world. It was his great benevolence. At the same time, they also called Fang Yuan a demon venerable. Among the 3, only Fang Yuan has not spoken. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, he has been recuperating in Eastern Sea. This shows that he is the weakest among the 3 venerables. In the future, the 3 venerables will have a huge battle. I still have a chance of revenge. Our Western Desert is situated deep in Western Desert. We have a great location. When the 5 regions go to war, the boundaries of the various regions will be chaotic. We only need to lay low and develop secretly. If the 3 venerables have a winner among them, we will join that side. If the venerables die, our Fang clan has hope of becoming an overlord of Western Desert. Fang Gong and Fang Huasheng listened to his analysis and could not help but nod slightly. Chapter 22:19. No, I am great love, immortal venerable. After that, Fang Dichang emphasized, looking at the 5 regions, Northern Plains, Central Continent, and Eastern Sea all have a venerable leader, while Southern Border has a righteous path alliance. Only our Western Desert is still divided and disunited. One can say that Western Desert is the weakest of the 5 regions. In this situation, we cannot take the lead to cause problems or show our stance. If other forces recruit us, we will try to balance ourselves and secretly join them while ensuring that our benefits are the priority. Back then, our Fang clan was attacked because we obtained Divine Emperor City. We cannot commit the same mistake again and become the target of everyone. That is too foolish. Fang Huasheng and Fang Gong nodded again. Even though Fang Dichang had lost his cultivation level, he still had his wide-ranging perspective. Southern border. Tianlan Mountain, Luo clan's headquarters, in the main hall. Most of Luo clan's Gu immortals were gathered. Those that did not come personally also sent their wills instead. Luo clan's first supreme elder had rank 7 cultivation level. He looked around before speaking. In the era of 3 reigning venerables, chaos will ensue. What should Luo clan do? If you have any ideas, do say them now. Luo clan's Gu immortals looked at each other. Soon, one of them spoke. This person cultivated space path. He was Luo clan's #1 general, Luo Ran, who had peak rank 7 battle strength, even surpassing the first supreme elder. Luo Ran spoke. Everyone. News of the reign of 3 venerables shocked everyone. After thinking about it, I decided to look at it from another perspective. If I were either of the 3 venerables, I would first devour southern border and western desert. After all, weaklings are the easiest targets. It is not good for Eastern Sea, Central Continent, or Northern Plains if the 3 venerables fight now. The wisest decision is to strengthen myself first and take more territory and resources before fighting the other venerables. Our Luo clan is at the northern end of southern border. We are closest to Central Continent. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wants to interfere in southern border, our Luo clan would have to face her first. Luo clan's immortals nodded with a cold expression. Ever since the disappearance of the 5 regional walls, their pressure had been intensifying daily. They had to search for backup plans and escape routes for Luo clan. Luo Ran continued to speak. With the reign of 3 venerables, unless our southern border also has a venerable, even if all the southern border Gu immortals work together cooperatively, we are not the match of any of these 3 venerables. As for the other super forces who are deeper inside the region, they might still have the choice of staying out of the war, but our Luo clan is stuck between southern border and central continent. When conflict starts, we will need to stick to one side. Once he said that, all of the Luo clan immortals became stirred. One of them stood up directly and shouted angrily. Luo Ran, are you saying that our Luo clan should surrender before fighting? Are you going to ignore the righteousness of our clan throughout the generations? We, Luo clan, defend the glory of righteousness. Are you going to abandon that? Everyone turned to look. The person who said that was Luo Fei. Next, many Luo clan Gu immortals added in their comments that sided with Luo Fei. When our Luo clan had once prospered, we almost threatened Wu clan's position. How can we act so cowardly? Indeed, venerables are no doubt invincible. But in the current era, with the reign of 3 venerables and the possibility that other venerables might revive in the future is certainly uncertain. We cannot give up now. In my opinion, none of the 3 venerables now are worth joining. Heavenly Court has the sect system. If our Luo clan joins them, we need to change our clan system. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable is most protective of his descendants. Bai Zhu tribe and Chu tribe are being ostracized by Northern Plains Huangjin bloodline. Meanwhile, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable has a lot of enmity with our clan. If we lower our heads to him, I will look down on myself. Seeing everyone's anger and riled emotions, Luo Ran quickly waved his hand. Everyone, I did not consider it through. Luo Fei stared widely. Lord Luo Ran, you are the #1 expert of Luo clan. If even you have such thoughts, we will be too disappointed. Luo Ran had an expression of guilt. I was wrong. Luo Fei added. According to my view, the situation is not very dangerous. With the reign of 3 venerables, they are wary of each other while being restricted. They will not make a move easily. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Demon Immortal Qi Ju and people like Xiao Hejian have already died. Fang Yuan lost many powerful subordinates. Right now, his main body is recuperating in Eastern Sea without doing anything. He does not have the strength to interfere in other regions. Additionally, even though our southern border has no venerable, we have the Southern Alliance and the Alliance leader Wu Yong. During the Fate War, Lord Wu Yong led our southern border righteous path and did not disappoint us even once. Why can't we hold expectations towards him and ourselves for now? After saying these words, Luo Fei sat down. Many Luo clan Gu immortals also nodded slightly, agreeing with her words. Luo clan thought positively about Wu clan, because back then, Luo clan suffered a loss when exploring Chi-Ju Grotto Heaven. They were pursued and had to seek help from Wu clan to preserve their strength. After some time, Luo Zhu announced the end of the meeting. Only Luo Ran stayed behind to talk to him secretly. "Sorry you had to do this," Luo Zhu said apologetically. Luo Ran shook his head. "Joining Heavenly Court was my true intention to begin with. I was just probing them today, but it seems that Luo clan does not want to give up yet. They think that it is too cowardly." On the other hand, that information path Immortal Gu was only the idea of Immortal Crane sect. Even if our Luo clan wants to join Central Continent, we need to contact at least Heavenly Court, right? Luo Zhu sighed. "Our Luo clan has always been an upright and righteous force. I am too useless to lead everyone. I am worried about Luo clan's safety. But you are right. Now is not the time yet. We need to continue contacting Immortal Crane sect in secret." Central Continent, Immortal Crane sect. Verdant green trees grew as clear winds blew in a pavilion near the middle of the mountain. A young Gu immortal was blowing his flute. As the sound of the flute spread, an immortal crane fluttered in the sky. The young-looking Gu immortal wore a clean white robe. His eyebrows were green and long, extending to his waist. It was the enslavement path immortal Feng Yuan. He was known as the winged crane flying immortal. "I succeeded in passing my tribulation and became rank 7. But to think that the moment I came out of seclusion, I heard the shocking story of the reign of 3 venerables. Not only did star constellation Immortal Venerable and giant sun Immortal Venerable revive, there is even a new heaven refining demon venerable. Gu Yu Fang Yuan." Feng Yang felt complex emotions. Back then, he was the one who asked Lord Sky Crane to head to southern borders Guyu village. He also dealt with Fang Yuan when trying to get Hu immortal blessed land. If I made up my mind back then and took action personally, could I have killed Fang Yuan? This thought emerged in Feng Yang's mind constantly. But soon, Feng Yang shook his head. The chances were that he would fail, because behind Fang Yuan, there was the contest of heaven's will and the other venerables. Also, even if he could have killed Fang Yuan, what was the point of saying it now? Fang Yuan was already a demon venerable, while Feng Yang had just gotten past rank 6 and advanced to rank 7. Feng Yang felt dejected internally, but he also had other emotions like envy. He worked so hard for so many years, but he watched as a mortal like Fang Yuan rose rapidly in strength, eventually becoming a venerable. Fang Yuan had far surpassed him. He could not even see his shadow, but through this flute music, Feng Yang slowly calmed down. Everyone has their own opportunities. Fang Yuan was able to reach this stage. Other than fortuitous encounters, he also had wisdom and courage to fight. He saw through many chaotic situations and had often gotten into dangerous situations. But I am not without hope. During peaceful times, spending resources on enslavement path is wasteful for the sect. But with the arrival of the 5 regions chaotic war, as an enslavement path cultivator, the sect will think highly of me. They will give me more attention and resources. Furthermore, I acted of my own accord and secretly sent Luo clan an information path Immortal Gu in the name of Immortal Crane sect to try to recruit them. Since Luo clan's first supreme elder has not destroyed the information path Immortal Gu yet, this shows a clear attitude. If this succeeds, it will be a huge accomplishment. I will get a lot of sect contribution points. By then, I can exchange for an immortal pill from Heavenly Court so that little 9 can become an ancient desolate beast. Feng Yang looked at the 9 palace crane in front of him and smiled. This 9 palace crane was a desolate beast with a close relationship with Feng Yang. Back then, it was hit by a time path Immortal Gu and regressed in age, becoming younger and younger until it became a baby. Feng Yang tried his best to save it, paying a huge price for it to recover fully. Eastern C.5 colored smoke rumbled as it contracted, eventually going back into Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. Fang Yuan sat cross-legged on the nameless island. He saw a wide area before him without any smoke left. Next, a large group of Gu immortals came towards him. When they were 1,000 steps away, they landed on the surface of the sea and kowtowed towards him, showing their subservience. These were Eastern Sea's righteous path Gu immortals. The various first supreme elders of the respective clans were among them. Of course, they were led by the pseudo-venerables, Shenshang and Lu Weiyin. Fang Yuan was stunned for a split second before understanding the situation. He laughed. A wise man submits to circumstances. Everyone, please get up. From today onwards, I will treat you equally like my other subordinates. The immortals showed expressions of gratitude as they said together, "We pay respects to heaven refining demon venerable. We are willing to give our lives to Lord Demon Venerable." But Fang Yuan shook his head slowly. At this point, I should make a declaration to the world. He connected to Treasure Yellow Heaven and started to make his declaration. What? Heaven refining Demon Venerable. I do not accept this title. Shang and the rest were stunned. I am not in the demonic path. I am a righteous path member. All my past actions have been to seek blessings for all living beings in the world. I disregarded my own life and experienced countless crises to destroy fate. I granted freedom to everyone in the world. However, corrupt forces like Heavenly Court still try to suppress and slander me even now. They are trying to obstruct me. I was best friends with Lord Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. In the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, he entrusted me with his wishes before dying. After becoming venerable, I will emulate Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. I will work for the harmony of the 5 regions. Everyone, do not believe in rumors. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was not killed by me. Star Constellation and Giant Sun cooperated to end his life. Fang Yuan spoke in a righteous tone. Shang and Lu Weiyin stared at him blankly. The other Eastern Sea Righteous Path leaders were also listening like this was a dream. Fang Yuan suddenly raised his volume. He said in an energetic tone, "Everyone, I want you to remember, I, Guyu Fang Yuan, am great love, immortal venerable. From today onwards, I will create my heaven and earth great love alliance. I will bring benefits to the world and peace to the 5 regions." News soon spread rapidly in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Every Gu immortal in the world heard of the Heavenly Lord by Zhu and Chu Du, who were currently grilling food, or the 3 higher-ups of Fang clan who were discussing secretly, or Luo clan's immortals, or He Feng Yang. They all received this shocking news, but Fang Yuan did not stop. He continued to speak that he placed a list in Treasure Yellow Heaven that contained a vast number of Gu worm names. If any Gu master or Gu immortal paid the appropriate price, he would refine Gu for them. For mortal Gu, he did not restrict quantity, while in regards to immortal Gu, he could even refine rank 8 immortal Gu for them. The 5 regions went into an uproar. This is my promise as Guyu Fang Yuan, a refinement path venerable. Gu worms are the core of our cultivation. They are our foundation. But all along, they have been too rare and hard to refine, especially immortal Gu. Because of this, the first thing that I will do to benefit the world is to refine immortal Gu for everyone. Regardless of our past grudges or enmity, be it friend or foe, I will not mind it. I will refine Gu for everyone equally. This will prove the great love in my heart. I know what you are worried about, but in fact, I have already made many transactions with various forces and Gu immortals. I refined many immortal Gu for them. For example, I've transacted many times with Western Desert's Fang clan. This is all evidence. In Western Desert, Fang Gong, Fang Dichang, and Fang Huasheng stared with wide eyes. Fang Dichang, who had earlier emphasized that they should keep a low profile and not cause public outrage, turned pale immediately. Or for example, Southern Borders Wu clan. I have refined more than one rank 8 immortal Gu for Wu Yong. The evidence is here. Wu Yong, Luo clan's members. Luo Fei held her head and felt like her heart had broken. Why? Lord Wu Yong, you actually cooperated with Fang Yuan secretly, why? Or for example, Northern Plains by Zhu tribe. I have many possible areas of cooperation with Heavenly Lord by Zhu. We have been in close contact. Fang Yuan continued to announce. Heavenly Lord by Zhu was like a stone statue. The skewer in his hand that he was roasting went up in flames. Chu Du looked at him, seemingly saying, "Brother, what is wrong with you? Since you have been in contact with Fang Yuan all along, why did you want to use my connection with him?" Fang Yuan continued to say, "Not just Northern Plains, Central Continent is involved too. For example, Immortal Crane sects He Feng Yang. I have been in contact with him since my younger days. We have truly become acquainted as a result of past conflicts." Slander. This is pure slander. Feng Yuan smashed the jade flute in his hand. He shivered intensely. Finally, Fang Yuan said, "Whether you believe me or not, that is up to you. Risks exist all the time, but what if this is true? Why don't you try first? Everyone, please give me some of your trust. Since long ago, countless people have misunderstood me. Thus, allow me to prove now to the people over the world that I am truly great love, immortal, venerable." After Fang Yuan's declaration, winds blew on the surface of the sea. The kneeling Eastern Sea Gu immortals raised their heads and looked towards Fang Yuan in a daze. Looking at them, Fang Yuan showed a kind and sincere smile. "Everyone, please get up. You have already joined my Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. You will receive greater preferential treatment as the first batch. I guarantee you that." Chapter 22:20, Blending of Black and White. Li Xiaobai followed several information path Gu immortals. They carefully waited in ambush. Xiaobai, Black and White Heaven are fusing together now. The commotion is huge and the environment is dangerous. Later, when the hound groups fly over, you should focus on watching rather than taking action. Do you understand? A rank 7 information path Gu immortal instructed. Li Xiaobai quickly nodded. "Yes, I will listen to the seniors." He was acting obediently, without the arrogance of a great scholar. All the information path Gu immortals here had a good impression of him. Li Xiaobai had become a rank 6 long ago. He was an information path Gu immortal. Because of his talent, he was also the most favored Gu immortal junior in profound literature Grotto Heaven. These information path Gu immortals came from profound literature Grotto Heaven. They were at least second-grade officials in the Grotto Heaven's imperial court. Profound literature Grotto Heaven had a special system. Gu immortals entered the imperial court, and most of them held important positions and roles. After Li Xiaobai became a Gu immortal, he also started to work for the imperial court. The only exception was old immortal Hua Yu. He had rank 8 cultivation level and stayed in the background, controlling the entire situation. "They're here." After a while, the Gu immortal in charge of investigation spoke. The immortals quickly displayed several killer moves. They concealed themselves even more deeply. Soon, Li Xiaobai saw a group of remnant heavenly dogs running towards them while stepping on air. These were all space path ancient desolate beasts. They ate space path Gu worms as food. A total of 368 remnant heavenly dogs and 4 heaven-swallowing hounds. Li Xiaobai cultivated information path. He was most skilled at collecting information. After taking a glance at them, he noticed the size of this hound group. Remnant heavenly dogs were ancient desolate beasts. After they grew to an extent, they would become heaven-swallowing hounds. Heaven-swallowing hounds were immemorial desolate beasts that ate 9 heavens fragments, Grotto Heaven, and blessed lands as food. They had always been a huge threat to the 2 heavens Grotto-Heavens. As the dog group continued to approach, profound literature Grotto Heavens Gu immortals started to work together. They secretly used a killer move. This killer move had no commotion or sound. It spread out rapidly. Initially, the dog group had no change, but after more than 10 breaths of time, 3 heaven-swallowing hounds stopped and bared their fangs, looking in the same direction with expressions of vigilance. The final heaven-swallowing hound also slowed down. The 4 heaven-swallowing hounds barked at the same place for a while. Afterwards, 3 of the heaven-swallowing hounds brought most of the remnant heavenly dogs to move on another route, towards a different direction. The final heaven-swallowing hound brought more than 20 remnant heavenly dogs as they continued on their original path. The Gu immortals of profound literature Grotto Heaven had been hiding all along. After the dog group left their field of vision, they showed themselves and sighed in relief. "All right, it has been settled. Most of the hounds have been misled by us. They think that direction has sumptuous food, but there are soul beasts there instead. Haha. We have also used information path methods on those soul beasts. Once the dog group goes there, they will think that the soul beasts are hiding in a mortal aperture. They will kill each other without us taking action. The remaining heaven-swallowing hound was not tricked by us. It likely has the protection of an immortal Gu. But with this number that we lured over, Lord Hua Yu has enough to work with." Xiaobai, did you see clearly? When your cultivation level rises to rank 7 in the future, you need to complete such missions often as well. Our profound literature Grotto Heaven cannot move and is placed in one spot in the sky. but we need to resolve lots of problems before they even occur. Li Xiaobai immediately answered, I will work harder. These Gu immortals immediately moved along the direction that the heaven-swallowing hound went earlier. This heaven-swallowing hound brought a few remnant heavenly dogs with it, getting ambushed midway by the battlefield killer move that old immortal Hua Yu set up in advance. After a large battle, the heaven-swallowing hound died. There was a wild immortal Gu after all, but it was destroyed in the battle. There were some remaining remnant heavenly dogs that managed to survive. They escaped along the cracks of the battlefield killer move. They were space path beasts after all. Running away was their expertise. But afterwards, they met with Li Xiaobai's group. After a few rounds of killer moves, these remnant heavenly dogs became minced corpses. Li Xiaobai also took action. He used some immortal essence but did not play a big role. However, he showed an expression of excitement and lingering enthusiasm. The other information path Gu immortals looked at him and had a deeper impression of him being a cute young junior. Old immortal Hua Yu collected and stored the battlefield killer move as the immortals quickly greeted him. Old immortal Hua Yu nodded and looked at everyone. When he saw Li Xiaobai, he smiled at the latter that he liked this young junior a lot and appreciated his talent in his heart. Li Xiaobai had a good upbringing and was the most talented Gu immortal in the last 100 years of profound literature Grotto Heaven's history. He was the future of the Grotto Heaven. Sigh. To think that Qi ancestor is actually a clone of Heaven refining demon venerable. Fang Yuan is scheming and crafty. I was deceived by him completely. If not for heavenly court and longevity Heaven exposing the truth, I would continue to be used by him. What great love immortal venerable. Such words can only deceive idiots. Sigh. I cannot trust any outsider. Only these Gu immortals in front of me are trustworthy. Qi ancestor had once personally helped profound literature Grotto Heaven. Thus, old immortal Hua Yu respected Qi ancestor greatly. After joining the Righteous Qi Alliance, he had been following Qi ancestor's leadership enthusiastically. But now that Qi ancestor's identity was exposed, all of that respect towards him turned into rage and humiliation. Old immortal Hua Yu had surging emotions, but he kept calm on the surface and controlled the situation. While ordering the Gu immortals to clean up the battlefield of all traces, he also sent them to search the area. They were all information path Gu immortals. They soon cleared the battlefield of all noticeable traces or clues. Other than that, the investigative Gu immortals also brought back some information. The heavenly wind Qi wall of the immemorial two heavens has mostly dissipated. The fusion of the two heavens will get more severe as time passes. Not only are the two heavens beasts fighting more frequently, the Tao marks of the two heavens are also undergoing huge changes. Some are conflicting with each other while others are fusing together and creating greater effects. They cannot be separated. In fact, the heavenly wind Qi wall had started dissipating long ago. Now that the 5 regional walls were gone and Qi tides swept the world, the two heavens fusion also reached the most intense moment. This resulted in the intense commotion. All the Grotto heavens that were in the two heavens were facing problems continuously throughout the period. Earlier, the dog group was a huge threat to profound literature Grotto Heaven, so it was dealt with in advance. But what worried old immortal Hua Yu and the other information path Gu immortals was not just the trouble ahead of them, but also the bigger situation of the 5 regions and 2 heavens. After Fang Yuan returned, he publicly announced himself as Great Love Immortal Venerable and set up his Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. Immediately, the 2 pseudo-venerables, Lu Wei-yin and Xin Shang, brought the various superclans of Eastern Sea's righteous path and submitted to Fang Yuan. Thus, the Righteous Qi Alliance and the Variant Human Alliance jointly entered the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. Old immortal Hua Yu and the others ended up in an awkward position. Speaking of which, they were members of the Righteous Qi Alliance, as were Granny Skeleton and others. But all along, because their foundation was in the 2 heavens, they were vaguely ostracized by Eastern Sea's super forces. But that was nothing originally. Old immortal Hua Yu, Granny Skeleton, and the rest only needed to continue getting Qi ancestors' support. But now, with the exposure of Qi ancestors' identity as their greatest enemy, Fang Yuan's clone, they had all along been trying to gain Fang Yuan's favor. Old immortal Hua Yu and Granny Skeleton could not help but feel stunned. Concurrently, the changes in the two heavens made them busy and tired as well. Right at this time, Fang Yuan announced himself as Great Love Immortal Venerable and made a declaration that shook the world. The 5 regions Gu immortal world went into an uproar. Ever since Gu Fang Yuan started cultivating, he had been ruthless and slaughtered countless innocents. He was clearly a demonic path member. How could he change his identity so easily with just some words? If changing one's faction was so easy to achieve, what was the point of the righteous path? Old immortal Hua Yu scoffed in his heart, but he was clear of the truth. Fang Yuan's declaration was a joke. But with his strength as a demon venerable, who would dare to laugh? Look at those Eastern Sea righteous path forces who submitted at the first second. Even if longevity heaven and heavenly court made fun of his words, what could they do to Fang Yuan? I cannot drag this on anymore. Fang Yuan has already taken an Eastern Sea's righteous path. Our two heavens forces cannot watch anymore. But should we join Fang Yuan, heavenly court, or longevity heaven? Profound literature grotto heaven was not in the heaven of central continent or northern plains. This was the reason why old immortal Hua Yu joined the righteous Qi alliance earlier. Now, joining Fang Yuan was the most convenient outcome. Yet, they would not be able to preserve profound literature grotto heaven. Why? Everyone knew that Fang Yuan had the sovereign immortal aperture. The two heavens grotto heavens were his targets to annex. Since they could not keep their homeland anyway, what was the point of joining Fang Yuan? And honestly speaking, old immortal Hua Yu really hated demons like Fang Yuan. Old immortal Hua Yu started to think more broadly. There were many options in front of him, but which choice should he pick? It was a tough question. Longevity heaven at the most central area. There was Calamity Luck Altar. The 4 directions of Calamity Luck Altar had the 4 desolations, and around the 4 desolations, there were 8 areas for the 8 extremities. Above the 4 desolations was golden light that radiated and enveloped the place. Above the 8 extremities was a spreading aura of green light. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had already returned to longevity heaven for some time already. Whoosh! A soft sound echoed. The final few star path down marks on Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's body went ablaze. They vanished completely. My injuries are finally healed. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable let out a breath of air. Next, I need to refine the luck path down marks of the 5 regions and 2 heavens to regain my strength as a Tao Lord. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not use genuine venerable level strength in combat. Because they were in the void, there were no natural Tao marks for them to refine that if there were, every action of a venerable would be amplified and strengthened by the natural Tao marks. They would become very terrifying. This was like how Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had the amplification of countless soul path down marks in the door of life and death. But strictly speaking, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was not considered a true Tao Lord because he did not have his sanity. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had already refined all of the luck path Tao marks in the world back in his time. But after his death, these Tao marks went back to the control of the heavenly Tao. Thus, he had to refine them again before he could use them.